grew up in the Midwest of the U.S. in the middle of agriculture, and I think that's part of what I really love about what I do is the grape growing part. I also have always liked working with my hands and creating things, and at one point I wanted to be an architect, and then I also lived in France for a summer. I was studying international relations when I was in college, and so I had the good fortune of living with a family that was very passionate about wine. I just decided when I was about 25 that I was going to combine a lot of different interests, and it's something that I just decided to do, and it's been great. That was almost 20 years ago. Early on, I was able to work with some really great people. One of my first jobs getting into this was with John Consgard, who's a very well-known winemaker, and he's become a friend and mentor. And I went back to UC Davis and I studied enology. I have a master's degree in enology, but then after that, I've just been very lucky working with great mentors. I worked for Staglin Family Vineyard in 2001 and 2002, and my wife, Annie Favia, who's a viticulturist, we started doing some of our own things, and then in 2003, after having 2 kids, we decided that we really needed to think a little bit bigger, and so we started our own consulting business. I work mainly with small estate wineries, so these are people who own a small vineyard and usually their own winery, and I will help them to sometimes even plant the vineyard, design the style of wine they want to do, design and build a winery, and I have a team of people that help me do all the work, and so we're basically managing everything from overseeing the grape growing, usually through a vineyard management company, to deciding when to harvest the grapes, how they should be fermented, how they should be aged, blending the wines, and basically I also consider myself sort of the quality control guy. You have to start with a great vineyard. It's all about the grapes growing in the right piece of land, and really, I mean, in Europe, they've known this for centuries. I mean, we are just really very young here in Napa and in California growing grapes, so even as I've worked with some vineyards over the last 10 years, we've changed the grape varieties we have planted in certain soils, and we're trying always to improve what we're doing. But really, you start with a great piece of ground, and then I consider us just sort of the caretakers of that piece of ground, and we do the best thing we can at every step, and that's not really a secret. It's just about doing it. If you're a real wine geek like I am, you really like wines from specific places because every year they exhibit a certain quality that's exciting. And so what we do is during the year we're focusing as much as we can. I mean, we're just starting now. It's just bud break here in California. So this is really the start of the season. And so at every step we're making sure that we have the right amount of fruit on the vine, and that usually means taking off a lot of fruit, because if you try to grow too much, you don't get the concentration of fruit that you want. We want to try to get the most sunlight on not the most, but the right amount of sunlight on the fruit so we get nice ripe flavors. And then we've harvested at the right time so that we have a rich wine, and we manage the fermentations and the tannins. So in the end, what we want is a wine that's very balanced but rich and flavorful, and the tannins should be very round, but it should be a big robust wine that it can age as well. I like wines that can age. I like wines that are 15, 20 years in the bottle. I think that's when you really get some exciting things going on with the wine. So I guess that's how you describe it. Very balanced, hopefully. Balanced, soft, and rich. I think that's what you want. But with a great vineyard character, that's what we're looking for.